Today is 18 April 2023. We have less than 24 hours to do the accomplish as requirement at the International Criminal Court to the institutions present the dismissal list in order to avoid this list of authorities at the organized crime and mafia presented by the mafia. As we told, they are criminal authorities at the organized crime or at the mafia. And misusing the state crime and the institutional crime will for sure, in a very specific moment, have stinks on the mafia and the organized crime. And if they do the records, which is the certified authenticity that we will have, for instance, to protect the criminal groups as, things that they didn't, and they are not running the criminal scams, and they can't be blamed by this. And if they are not running the criminal scams, well, I think that's quite clear that at this circumstance they kind of will be protected by the law until the law got hurted by the things they did. Simple to get. Because of this, they can offer the names at the institution which are running the game for the organized crime, and sometimes doing things not according with the desire of the organized crime or the mafia. If, for instance, you have a drug dealer, a big one, and this drug dealer got accused as trafficking of cocaine in South America, and suddenly appears an accusation as terrorist, and this drug dealer is claiming, I'm not a terrorist, I'm a drug dealer. But the departments doing the redistribution of seizure drugs can do the records and put this innocent at terrorism as a terrorist. Can you get the point? It's the object at this complaint, but I'm not a member of the mafia, I'm not a member of the organized crime. I did the foundation of something illegal as intellectual asset, and we told in the very first day it's a limit because the reason and creation is a blessing of God, and you against all this. So you please take a look on Risk Report 2023 GSS 2023 traceapril.blogspot.com. You will check that our current post is about the life, that is the great law. You have the picture of a carrot, growing in a pot, in a plastic cup, because it's an impulse so strong that kind of bring ourselves until the moment we are, and even with threats projected from the future, as we have the issues in the next 10 years, have another pandemic as COVID, doing the optimization and fix the points, troubled, observed, and not charged by non-government around because they are all involved on it. You will check that the systematic review made by audit indeed starts at the budget or the budget, because we always get our buddies on it. So, and we start the dismantle and the dismiss from here. The dismantle by financial choke and methods pushing the mistakes and the error. And of course that the dismissal list will help a lot to break the interconnected by trust that leads to the trust scam as public and corporate, doing the suppression of basic rights, guarantees, ethic premises, traditional societies, corrupting all values, carrying the corrupted argument all around as a single thing, as a global system totally corrupted. and it doesn't mean if it's fully corrupted. It's totally corrupted by corruption in all segments. The pandemic COVID-19 proved this, and also the FIFA Olympics or any global events on modern time. We will check that we have the astrophysics cross-cut as offered to the USA, do the review of their own election and the entire electoral system on Western by the easy way to achieve the institutional power by the fraudulent or electoral crimes, getting the chairs and having the domain or the capacity to expose the influence presented as domain despite as image sometimes or once in a while. And in the last 24 hours, we kind of have nothing more to offer because we did this in the last 10 years. The FBI and peers must get the plea bargain considering the holographic business model and new way of plea bargains, without exposing the industrial secrets, but having the self-sufficient as element to do the proof at the International Criminal Court. And we will observe that our stochastic data by the FBI and peers, considering the Interpol, considering the European agencies, and even in Asia, if they got in touch after got touched by the FBI and the intelligence in USA and Europe. They will have this cloud management about the circumstance, crimes, perpetrators and offenders, the victims, the real victims, the relation between victims and offender to get legal advantage or even the authorities on it. There are no escapes. You are all clustered and under cloud management that can be used or not used by the circumstance considering the dismissal list and the option as mafia and organized crime delivered information about the authorities of mafia and organized crime to protect them as being guilty or have the illicitness about things they didn't make or didn't make yet, right? Then we'll check that the aggression suffered in Brazil in the very first moment allowed him to act according to the Brazilian Constitution and has basically the same basic rights and guarantees for Brazilian and foreigners. Even my second nationality as Portuguese, dumping the Brazilian, if linked and noticed as a criminal system in the way we requested and required before a dozen times, I will use and present using the Article 4, Item 9 as international cooperation for development of mankind. And I did this despite our aggression, violation, and unfair treatment in Brazil, perpetrated not only by Brazil. Even the silence, that is one of the arguments and Angleton at the pandemic mobilization as transnational organized crime through local crime and corruption. The Blind Eye Association is one of the directors at special concern, especially on public department, not only in the Federal Bureau of Investigation. The cowardice is once got or running into it is the worst prison ever. You probably will not escape from this, qualification. And then you will observe that let's keep it real. List 24 hours, International Criminal Court, we never defaulted you on your needs and now are guilty as international citizenship for cooperation and development of mankind according to the Constitution acting by guarantees in the way we do and did all the time. We are covered by law under constitutional conformance. The holographic business model, as you could prove, don't default the International Criminal Court. We ask to be on reciprocity and have asked equally the legal reply, which belongs equally into the righteous compensation. I can't have the compensation without the legal reply. And we are asking as a single, independent, and without ties with the criminal system, being the unique creditor. To do this, considering neutral jurisdiction as zone, with suggested police as prevalence of the better guarantee, or the ways and limits set by this court. We will consider as one more time the reciprocal reply on neutral area, the total tax immunity on criminal systems, and we will equally and one more time have problems at the mobile as usual, but it's part of the interference that Brazil do. And if Brazil decide to claim that's not doing this, we will reply that Brazil should and never ever consider do this, because you violate the Article 5 guarantee number 12 of the Brazilian Constitution. And by this kind of behavior, as you can observe, that's a behavior of a system ruled by criminal purpose with criminal and institution, and not happened by the continuity of the entrance of new criminals on the institution. We will have offered that if we request the proximity rule or any kind of rule, a judicial argument to protect the effort, protect the circles, the law enforcement, or the officers will be violated by the criminal system that do not respect their own constitution, while they will respect any other constitution or legal premise all around. Was compliant since 2014 by the IMF, by the OECD, by the UNODC, which is the United Nations drug about about drugs and crimes. And can you believe you go in a situation where top chairs of the Minister of the Supreme Court doing this, or even a member of this International Criminal Court? It's an absurd. And then we observe that this effort indeed is defaulted, not as payment because you do not consider be paid by a criminal environment, but that the guarantee as reply and the compensation as legal right sourced at the legal and basic rights, which allowed me to get who I will do the charge, the criminal system viewed from the debtor system in solidarity by the concurrent interest against this credit, and the charge made, and in which place, considering for instance the American Embassy, if you are doing for the very first day, as we could observe by email accounts, the cooperation with the Federal Bureau of Investigation and the U.S. Department of Security and Defense, the Homeland Defense, and suddenly the NATO, the OECD, and the Bank of Japan, and part of the Asia. We will consider one more time the total tax immunity on crime system, because the criminals do the use of the taxation and the tax system, having overpriced contracts and redistribution the national treasury for criminal purpose. When you do the tax immunity, considering this big amount of money, we indeed are having the financial choke of the criminal system that will be in a rush as physiological level, plus the default from bank system not cover illegal operation and allowing giving the name to be severed or sent to jail as severed values. Of course that the pressure will be ultimate blood pressure against them without blood, so they will kind of be under a factorization or something like this, because they will be forced to reduce things. It's one of the management methods that you have as forced choice management. And equally, you will have the decision tree inside the organized crime. You can do the follow-up if you consider necessary as trust and the pandemic threatening the mankind and the development projected in the future in the way of observing the next prospection for a new pandemic event, considering nowadays the concurrent association between medicine industry. And we will consider all antitrust justice USA judicial rule offered by us and the rule of thumb. And we will end here The protection of me and near circles considered relative, the family and the workforce that she probably is with me, and even having troubles from them as dripped information or insider trade or something like this, especially if the financial system in Europe or events on Asia. Then we will check that the evidence we offered is the proximity rule disrespected. If violates my guarantees that can't be violated, including my private living or data, all things on my private living or email account got violated, and also the effort, industrial project, portfolio, all things made. The interests are huge. The interests are, tremendous, legit in the way they have the right to claim. 37 trillion plus considering the financial penalties. Limits as ambition. And recognize this court, me and circles as near victims to be protected by the ethic consequence against the criminal system applied by this court, with cooperation with any other court, judge, institution, player, organism or organization all around the globe not linked with the organized crime of the mafia. And my full share inside the limits as ambition is 33 billion, a humble and a small quantity. My effort is entirely pro bono, but my compensation is a basic right, sourced and non-sourced on law and under total constitutional conformance. It's the presentation of argument, a bit more than 50 minutes. I wish you success at the trial and the declaration of guiltiness that indeed is already made codified, that segments qualified by binary codes optimized to do this under the violation, and of course very effective, or we shouldn't have and things in the way we are. It's a desperate way against the application of the law, and according with the Conrad Hess theory, we are strong and upholding not only the law but also the Constitution, the constitutionalism, and the constitutional system. Have a great night.